Hello there. Today we will be discussing the topic of psychic vampirism. What is psychic vampirism? Well, anyone can be a psychic vampire. Most of us, if not all of us, have behaved in ways that has drained other people's energy at some point or another. Some people do this unintentionally or unconsciously. However, others do it consciously and even with ill intent. It is a manipulation strategy, which means that there's an underlying need and desire to experience something that this individual is obtaining through inadvertent and covert means. That means that there's some kind of subconscious belief that this person has that they're unable to meet their needs in healthy, natural, organic, and efficient ways through source that doesn't require them going on roundabout paths to manipulate others. Psychic vampirism happens all day, every day, to a bunch of different individuals who are unaware of it. And it makes sense why. Because it's so hard to spot. It's not that easy to notice, because when someone's in the experience themselves, they kind of get enmeshed with the other person's energy. And also, it's hard to spot real time unless someone's super in tune with their feelings and boundaries. A lot of people are unaware of how they really feel in their body, in their emotions, and in their heart and soul. They're walking around clueless to that, so they end up being a very easy prey for people who are attempting to feed off of their mental, emotional, physical, spiritual energies. Everything is energy, so what we focus on is really important. When we're focused on positivity and feeling good, we feel happy, we feel healthy, and things are emanating positively. And we choose to let that energy in or not. That is our free will. Yet others can come into our experience and influence us in certain ways that don't feel good. This can feel like we are the ones that are at fault and responsible for letting other people cut us off from source and when we don't feel good. And that's one way of looking at things, which is valid. However, there's also the other aspect which people see things through as if they're victims, where the other person is doing this unto them and they have no control over it, and that the other person is making them feel this way. Yet there's a much more integrated approach to noticing that, yes, one is responsible for how other people affect us and how we respond, and at the same time, other people are responsible for their behavior and how it's affecting us. So despite attempting to get them to behave a certain way or respect one's own feelings and boundaries, the only control and power that we ultimately do have is to tap into source, to feel good, and to communicate how we feel so that they have a chance to understand and respect how we feel. The tricky part about dealing with psychic vampirism is being able to tell early on before one ends up drained. That means being aware of one's surroundings, being in tune with one's own breath and energy field, and then being very mindful, intentional, and careful of who we choose to engage with, on what level we choose to interact with them, and what we agree to. They say that you can only have a vampire in your home if you invite them in. Now, this may seem funny and like a common saying, however, there is a truth to this, and not just in our homes. When we choose to communicate with an individual and react a certain way or say something to them or do something with them, we are in a way signing a contract by interacting in an energy exchange where we are putting our focus, our thoughts, our time, our energy, our voice, and our actions into being with an other, right? And although there's this universe where we're all one, others do exist, and we do also have our own individuality. And with that free will that we have, we get to decide if we put our energy here, or there. And when we do, then we also receive some kind of energy or a reflection in a mirror. Now, we live in a universe that is governed by the law of attraction or the law of mirroring, and what we focus on ends up adding onto itself and manifesting in a way. So it's like a magnet. And that's why it can feel so challenging to get out of these situations where no matter what we do, it seems like we just keep attracting a certain kind of individual, certain kind of energy, and people who may not be tapped into their source of love and infinite energy and light and peace and goodness and abundance. And so they feel like they have to cut ours off so they can feel happy and good, or that they need to use us or drain us or take advantage of us so that they can get their needs met. And it's easy to blame these people because it affects our reality. We can experience physical ailments, financial loss, job loss, living situation loss. It can affect our transportation, our relationships, our family, our friends, and our partnerships with perhaps a romantic partner as well. And the magnitude of psychic vampirism is not that easily measurable, because usually the effects of it come after or far after the actual experience itself, which is why a lot of people end up falling prey to this kind of dynamic. People are unwilling to see psychic vampirism in themselves because we are attached to a self-concept of being good. And so there's no way that we could be doing something that's influencing others in a negative way, right? And so a lot of people will do anything to avoid looking at their own shadow and acknowledging that the ways that we're thinking, saying, and doing things sometimes can be toxic, abusive, dysfunctional, and unhealthy. And the implications of how that can affect other people and end up then rippling through their networks and the whole universe, and then returning to us as well, sometimes in the form of karma. And that's also something that's really hard to look at, because we don't want to accumulate negative karma, but if we do things that make other people feel negative, then that can come back to us. So that's why it's so important to be positive and share good energy out in the world, because it does end up coming back to us as well. Another reason why people do not like looking at this topic or dealing with it is because oftentimes it's not just strangers, which it can be, or acquaintances, coworkers, roommates, people that we're not as close to. However, it can be the people that we are in love with, our partners, our family, our friends, and even ourselves, right? That end up being or behaving in these ways. It is uncomfortable to address. However, it's undeniable. We can go around pretending it's fine and just sweeping it under the rug. However, eventually it gets tiresome. We may feel just burnt out. And it's best not to wait to that point where the damage is already done and there's a lot more collateral, and then rebuilding and starting from a ground zero foundation is a lot harder after being siphoned from and allowing that to happen than it is to prevent it in the first place. Set healthy boundaries and manage it while it's happening so that it doesn't continue, and that we're remaining in a healthy sphere of influence within our own bodies, our homes, our space, our careers, and our relationships, and in all aspects of our reality that feel good. So it can be really challenging to change this pattern, because also a part of us may enjoy the suffering, the victimhood, the negativity, and feed off of it as well. To cut ties with negative energy and people who take advantage of us or are behaving in ways that are draining our energy and that we've been allowing them to, it means to really address the fact that we also have a part in it. Taking responsibility, being accountable, doing the hard work to get rid of this kind of situation once and for all means a lot of focus, a lot of discipline, and a lot of dedication and effort to ensure that it doesn't repeat. So if you're really wishing to change this, it's going to require some change. It's going to require some tough conversations occasionally. It's going to require letting go of certain individuals from your reality and actually changing the way that you think, speak, and act each day, and in the things that you participate in, so that you're no longer on the same level and no longer tolerating access to people who don't either deserve it, misuse and abuse that privilege, and also treat you with contempt, disrespect, and unkindness. It's inconvenient and uncomfortable because it's not like we get this easy map to pinpoint who and who is not choosing to be a psychic vampire in our lives or not. And an important thing is to realize that sometimes they're not aware that they're choosing, but they're still choosing. And so it's very uncomfortable to tell someone that we feel a certain way about them when they may not even be doing that on purpose. They're just doing what they know. It can feel really weird to express that we feel drained with someone that we care about, or for them to express that to us, and being on the receiving end of that can be a big whoa, and it can be earth-shattering and mind-boggling. So I encourage you to have some more compassion and patience and forgiveness with yourself and others, because this isn't the easiest thing to heal, and there isn't always a safe way to address the situation. Sometimes it can cause conflict, it can bring up unwanted emotions or memories or experiences, but it's crucial that the conversations are had, the problem is addressed, and this kind of energetic cord between one another is cut, cleansed, and cleared and transmuted, so that there can be a flowing, healthy, functional, balanced, reciprocal, and symbiotic exchange of energy instead. The only people who can actually resolve this are the individuals in the energy exchange. So if other people are not in the energy exchange, they can't intervene and stop this. They can provide resources, support, guidance, and help. But unless someone is willing to take the help, acknowledge that the situation exists, and actually change what's happening or how they respond to others, it doesn't just go away. Yet there are times where there are others who are engaged in the experience and influencing things as well. So they may also either be a psychic vampire or contributing to one or enabling one. Enabling psychic vampirism happens all the time through things like justification, gaslighting, and just kind of bypassing what's going on. Because no one really wants to think about it this way, and it is a lot easier to just go day by day pretending everything's fine, but it's not fine. There's tons of room for compassion for people and their suffering, what they're going through, and their hard times. But if someone always seems to be negative-minded, complaining, gossiping, saying things that are not positive, that feels toxic, unhealthy, and just like a heavy weight to be around, it's best to choose another energy. It feels a lot better to be happy and joyful and healthy than constantly struggling, battling people, and attempting to just find a baseline level of sanity. It can be extreme like that, or it can be subtle, where there's some forms of emotional drainage that we sense, but it might not be as overt and upfront. Yet either way, these loose ends and energetic hooks have got to go if we'd like to live a decent quality life. There are ways to notice the red flags, the telltale signs, and to set those preventive care measures of healthy boundaries by communicating with people clear no's when we don't feel like doing something, and sticking to our guns and standing our ground, not letting ourselves be emotionally guilt-tripped, shamed, or manipulated into doing things that we don't want to do, or saying yes to things that we mean to say no to. It's going to take practice, and you may be surprised by the list of people in your life that you feel like are psychic vampires. The key, however, is to not blame them. It's to take radical ownership of one's play in the game of this dysfunctional pattern. And the other most important aspect is to not end up becoming a psychic vampire ourselves. If we react in negative ways, try to control others, blame them, and shame them for their dysfunctional behavior, we may end up on the same level as them. So it's paramount to steer clear, keep in alignment with source, and allow the good energy through while letting it to flow in healthy ways with direct communication. If you do that and it doesn't work time and time again, then it may be time to release that individual and relationship from your life, move on, nurture and create healthy foundations, and then attract people that are willing to live in accordance with mutual respect and honor. It feels great to be around good people, to feel the blessings and miracles in life, be grateful and appreciative of one another, and really satisfied with delight in good, healthy relationships. You deserve that, you're worthy of that, and it is more than possible to experience that. I hope that this reflection is useful and that you're able to use it to steer clear, keep your peace of mind, have healthy boundaries, say no to people that you know you can't help, and know that the only one that you can be responsible for in regards to happiness is you. So the greatest way to assist others in healing sometimes is to just lead by an example and protect your sanity, keep emotionally safe, and do what's best for you. Thank you.